Recount Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?
The World Wrestling Federation, for over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
Oh, it's live, Hal.
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never, ever end.
Everybody three count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Or maybe The Rock has got to beat Triple H himself, which means he's got to beat the game in the middle of the ring. And he has a $2 for a wife.
You're too damn selfish, and that's why you're sitting there with a bad leg, and that's why I kicked your leg out of your leg.
You guys talk about being students of the game. I am the game, JR.
3 ain't enough now. I need 5. Welcome in Jim, Ryan, Matt, Tim, and intern Mark.
Oh my goodness, what do we do? There's a 1. There's a 2. Oh!
Wow. Well, you can take that brass ring and shove it up your ass.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 3 Count Thursday. We are live here on Facebook. It is Thursday, December the 3rd, 2020. We are still the podcast of the millennium. We have tons to talk about this week, including Thank You, Pat, Omega is the Alpha, and the Icon returns / debuts. But first, make sure you go to 3countthursday.com. That is our homepage. You'll find our social media links over there, our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
It's Steve! What a maneuver.
Thank you, Tim. Our Patreon page at patreon.com / 3countthursday. Our collar and elbow brand deal. If you go to store.collarandelbowbrand.com, use promo code 3count. You get 10% off each and every order. And you can get the Stang shirt. That seems appropriate for today. Also, make sure you check out our home network, NGSC Sports, at ngscsports.com. And of course, we stream daily at leibsports.com. Ryan, that would be
LEEIB sports.com.
Thank you, Ryan. Matt will be joining us here in just a little bit. He is just being a little fashionably late this week, but that's fine. We will start with Tim.
How you doing?
When one door closes, another door reopens.
As the world turns.
I have never been more happy for winter to come in quite some time.
There you go. Ryan.
How you doing?
Jim, I think it's safe to say that last night winter came, and so did Tim Taylor.
That's a good one. And intern Mark.
How you doing?
Well, I'll be darned. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good. I can't complain. Thanks for having me.
Very good. We see a couple of questions here. If you're following along the live video, interact with us. We will touch on those. Yeah, we'll obviously be talking about some of the events that happened last night on AEW Dynamite. But of course, the first thing that we want to talk about tonight is the unfortunate passing of Pat Patterson yesterday at the age of 79 from the release on WWE.com. Said a true trailblazer of the industry, Patterson was linked to many firsts in sports entertainment throughout his storied career, including the first ever intercontinental title reign and the creation of the Royal Rumble match. In a career spanning 6 decades, the Renaissance man left an indelible mark on the industry, in the ring, on the microphone, and behind the scenes. I pulled just some of his career highlights using AWA World Tag Team Champion and New Japan Pro Wrestling NWA North American Tag Team Champion. He was a 24/7 champ in the WWE, a hardcore champ in the WWE, but of course the first ever Intercontinental Champion. He was put in the WWE Hall of Fame in 1996, Cauliflower Alley Club Lifetime Achievement Award 2008, Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame 1996, and the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame back in 2006 as well. You know, obviously 35 years old for me. Can't say that I've seen many a Pat Patterson match in my lifetime, but you know, I think about you know, the time during the corporation, during the Attitude Era. Him and Briscoe were absolutely a fantastic team on air. And for me, it's more you watch some of these documentaries. Legends House was a blast that he was on, and you know, some of the things he opened up about on that show, you know, were really touching. But you know, watch some of these documentaries, and you see the impact, you hear about the impact that he's had on today's product, on the product overall. And you know, it's for me, you know, I'm sitting there and I, you know, watched the tribute video that aired at the start of NXT last night, and it was the perfect song. WWE, they always do a tremendous job at these things. And you know, like dude, it like freaking punched me in the heart, I swear to God. Like, just it you know, it's super sad. And I think because, you know, so many of the superstars that I grew up with and that we're watching now, and you see the pictures of Pat working with them, you know, it makes you realize that even if they're not, you know, these legends that are not in the ring anymore and they're working behind the scenes, the impact that they're still having on the industry to this day. So this one, yeah, it punched me a little different. And this year, you know, is a different range of emotions as well. So maybe that played into it. But yeah, this one hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Patterson did more for did just as much for wrestling outside of the ring that he did in the ring. The one notable thing that it's common knowledge, or at least it is to most fans, but thanks to Pat Patterson, we have what some would say is the most iconic match in all of WWFE history, the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
Pat Patterson, also known as you know, behind the scenes as being a good finish guy, finding ways to tell the story, especially the end parts of a story in the ring. Pat Patterson is just always going to be remembered, at least for me, because again, I have not seen many of his matches because his heyday was in the 70s and 80s. But if you know of Pat Patterson, you know he was a fantastic tag team wrestler. One of his most iconic matches is available online on YouTube right now. It may also be on the WWE Network, but it is his alley fight with Sergeant Slaughter in Madison Square Garden in 1981. If you have not seen this match, do yourself a favor. It's 17 minutes long, and it puts any modern day street fight to shame. The brutality in 1981 in Madison Square Garden is up there with anything they can do in 2020. So Pat Patterson, definitely a trailblazer both inside and outside of the ring.
Jim, I think I'm kind of with you on this, that I've not seen a ton of Pat Patterson matches. When I think of Pat Patterson, I think of the one-time hardcore champion, Pat Patterson. I also think of, like, he's one of Vince McMahon's stooges with Briscoe. That's kind of the role that I think of when I think of Pat Patterson. Not necessarily fair to his legacy and the impact that he's truly had, which is undeniable. But I feel like a lot of our fans, our age maybe and younger, are going to think of Pat Patterson solely as like that on-screen figure that always was like right up McMahon's ass.
Sure. Mark, how about you? You know, being a little bit older than us, do you remember Pat Patterson in the ring at all?
I was watching wrestling. Patterson was pretty much retired. I do remember back in the day when VHS tapes were a thing, and you could go to the video store and rent VHS tapes. Getting some of the first WWF tapes, and Patterson would have some matches on there. Sometimes I think one of them was like the bloodiest cage matches, and Pat Patterson was on that. And that's kind of how I got to know him as a professional wrestler. And like Tim was saying with that match with Sergeant Slaughter, that is a must watch. If you're a fan, do yourself a favor and check that out. But I don't, other than that, I really didn't, I never saw him wrestle live. Maybe as a stooge with McMahon at some of the live events or the TV events I saw him, but nothing memorable stands out there. But the fact that him and Briscoe were a big part of the Attitude Era, I mean, even though it was comedy for the most part, it brought him and Briscoe to so many new fans. And like you guys remember him from the Attitude Era in the 90s. I mean, it's incredible. And the fact that everybody
with the hardcore title
what was that? I'm sorry, you broke up.
With the hardcore title, was it Patterson that did the slow count and the shush, or was that Briscoe? Or it was the two of them together, right? Like one of them, I forget which one was who was pinning somebody. Well, so I think somebody was pinning Crash Holly, I believe. But yeah, I mean it's and I mean I'm fairly certain that Legends House is still on the WWE network if you dig back into it.
Yeah. If you go into WWE
like
network,
original programming or something,
you don't even have to go that far. There should be a section for celebrating Pat Patterson.
Oh, okay.
And it has a lot of different clips, including that Sergeant Slaughter match. Also a match with him and the innovator of the Mandible Claw, Dominic DeNucci.
Okay.
There's a couple of tag team matches with him and Andre the Giant. His Hall of Fame speech from 1996 is there. And Legends House. Now, I mean, Legends House is great for just
tons of reasons.
Yeah, but mainly for Pat, it was him coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn and say he's like the first gay wrestler. But like, I don't know anyone else like before him. Like
yeah,
there may have been, and it sucks that he had to wait so long.
Sure.
But also being able to live his truth in a world like wrestling where it was completely out of the question to be who you want to be. And unfortunately, in some circles, it still is.
Yeah.
And the fight that he fought for homosexuality is the fight that some people are fighting now in regards to gender fluidity and being transgender or anything. So it's definitely a same hand, different type of scenario. I know that like I was listening to Sonny Kiss on the Chris Jericho podcast when he was on, and Sonny Kiss mentioned that one of his idols or one of the people he looked up to in wrestling, Pat Patterson. And like everybody understands the influence regardless of where you are, whether you're gay or you're straight or whatever side of the aisle you're on, whether you're WWE or AEW, like Pat Patterson's well known. I mean, Pat Patterson got a nod, or not a nod, but they did a tribute to him as well on AEW television.
Yeah.
And he never spent a day
on their
programming.
Right. Yeah.
Not a
And
second, but he's such an iconic and respected figure in the world of wrestling that you
yeah,
have to take your hat off.
there's an episode in particular of Legends House that it's towards the end of the season, I believe, when they're out to dinner and Pat is having a very long and open conversation with the entire group about his life and his sexuality and all of that. Like it, just thinking about, I'm literally getting goosebumps like thinking about it. And I watched Legends House when it came out. I have not watched it since it came out. Now I will probably go, now that we're talking about it, I'll probably go back and if nothing else, watch that episode. If you haven't watched it and you don't watch the entire season, which I recommend because it is a freaking hoot. You get to see Piper on there, who's no longer with us, of course, either. Mean Gene as well.
Four are dead.
Four are dead from that.
Who are the other two? Well, who was the other one now? The Fink. That's right. Fink was on there. Well, it's Pat, the Fink, Mean Gene, and Pipe.
And Piper now.
But at least find that episode and find that clip and hell, they may have that clip may be on YouTube or something at this point. But
it's out there. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, check it out.
Easy to find.
It really is. It's a heartwarming and touching moment.
And even if you don't have it on YouTube, WWE Network is free.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious if the Patterson stuff is on the free version.
It honestly might be, because
I think it should. Like,
most of it is old stuff anyway. Like,
right.
It's,
so
and but yeah, it's Pat Patterson again, age of 79. Pat, here's to you, ma'am. Another legend lost. Okay, so let's dig in here to our weekly segment. On this day, December the 3rd, we have one birthday. Wolfgang, NXT, half of the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, was born in 1986. Then we go back to 1984. On this day, Ted DiBiase and Hercules Hernandez defeat the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, to win the Mid-South Tag Team titles in New Orleans, Louisiana. On this day, in 1991, WWF held their This Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, in front of 8,000 fans. The show featured 9 dark matches, 5 main card matches, and was considered a failure with a buy rate of only 1.0. The main event saw Hulk Hogan pin The Undertaker after throwing ashes from Paul Bear's urn into The Undertaker's eyes to win the WWF World title. Then WWE President Jack Tunney made an announcement airing on the December 7th edition of WWF Superstars that the title was vacated and would go to the winner of the following month's Royal Rumble match due to 2 disputed finishes. Of course, this one at Tuesday in Texas and the previous week's Survivor Series. On this day, in 2000, ECW held their next to last pay-per-view, Massacre on 34th Street, from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City in front of 2,600 fans. The show featured 2 dark matches, 8 main card matches. It was main evented by Steve Corino with Jack Victory, defeating Jerry Lynn and Justin Credible with Francine in a 3-way dance for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. On this day, 2006, WWECW held their final pay-per-view, December to Dismember, at the James Brown Arena in Augusta, Georgia, in front of 4,800 fans. The show's 90,000 pay-per-view buy rate was the lowest in WWE history before the creation of the WWE Network. The show was headlined by Bobby Lashley.
Bob! Ooh, I know this one.
Bobby Lashley defeating The Big Show, Test, RVD, Hardcore Holly, and CM Punk in an Extreme Elimination Chamber match for the ECW World Championship. The show is considered to be one of the
greatest
pay-per-views in WWE history, and saw shortly after this Paul Heyman leave the WWE.
Immediately after.
Well, from doing a little bit of research, it sounds like his contract was up and he just was ready to leave. But
yeah,
yes.
But he could have resigned. Big Show also left too.
Oh yes. But those were all the items that occurred
on this day.
December the 3rd in pro wrestling.
God, what a
history.
great pay-per-view.
How do you mess that up? An elimination
Oh.
chamber with weapon. How can you screw that up?
Because one of the
Wait.
weapons was a whole ass table.
Unreal.
I mean,
Wait, that was about the beginning of the end for ECW too, with WWE.
Yeah, because this is the final pay-per-view. I didn't look up to what their actual like final
I don't think it was much longer after that.
yeah.
WWECW went on
No.
for a while.
Did it really?
Yes.
No.
WWECW went it last episode February 16, 2010.
It went on for 4 more fucking years after this.
Yes.
No
They just-
way.
No
Well,
way.
did they just start incorporating ECW stuff into WWE pay-per-views? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so the ECW title would be defended on the,
God, I can't
the
believe it
regular
was that long.
pay-per-views.
Oh, I can't either. That's crazy.
There were three general managers. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 commentary teams.
That I believe.
Thing sucks.
And yeah.
Was it moved to online?
It was on Sci-Fi the whole time.
I mean, I guess what else is on Sci-Fi that's drawing those numbers?
Well, right. That's to say, is that whenever they talk about, well, WWE's ratings are in decline, and then you look, even on Sci-Fi, they were pulling the highest number.
What did ECW get replaced with on Sci-Fi Network literally the next week?
Silk stockings.
No.
Reruns of Tales from the Crypt.
No.
Who's-
It's a WWE property.
was
Total Bellas.
SmackDown went to Sci-Fi, didn't they?
They were wild and young.
Young.
They turned into the Nexus. The original NXT.
No
with
shit.
Wade Barrett and Justin
wow.
Gabriel and Heath Slater and Daniel Bryan and
Well, I'm afraid I've got
Yes.
some bad news.
That was
debuted.
on Sci-Fi?
Yes.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I had no clue. I guess that was in my. Was that in my dead period? When was that?
That was
It was in
2010.
everybody's dead period, Jim.
I was there.
Everybody but Tim.
Yeah. It was on Sci-Fi for the first season. Then afterwards it was on WWE.com. And then it got
No
moved
clue.
to Hulu.
Tim was like, "Hey guys, did you guys see this?"
I've been here the whole time, baby.
I don't think so, Tim.
But oh wow, yeah, I didn't realize that went on for four more years after
No
that.
clue.
Yo,
Unreal.
I can't believe it. Doesn't seem like it.
I love me some WWECW, man. Like, I'm
For you.
telling you right now, I could do a watch of everything from WWECW as like a review show.
Well,
Tim, I'll do a watch along with you. Let's pick the worst match you can think from that pay-per-view and we'll watch along. How that pay-per-view is only an hour and a half?
I was gonna say, I think like the
a
opening
buck
match
30.
and the closing match were like 20 minutes, and the rest was about 6. I think each match was
The
about 6
worst
minutes
match on that card. Let me see. Oh man.
Now was this
It
Mordecai or like Kevin Thorne? This would be Kevin Thorne,
This is
right?
Kevin Thorne.
long. Fucking Mordecai.
With Ariel.
Yes.
Yeah, Ariel was there.
Yeah, she
liked
was good
Ariel.
looking.
The worst match on this card is absolutely Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker.
Oh,
I believe that.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And this didn't.
That's a
This
shame.
this wasn't successful. Hard to believe.
Tim, you missed the watch along Jim and I
Yeah.
did the other day. That was a lot of fun.
What did y'all cover?
We covered Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka from One Night Only.
Oh
Or
man,
One Night Stand.
Jeez.
that was insane.
Those
One night
guys,
stand.
those guys hated each other.
Dude,
That
that
was-
match was
They
hard to
didn't.
watch at times.
That
Yeah,
was tough. That really was.
it was hard to watch that for sure.
Just
Go
like,
back today and know
That
what
was
we
a
know
great
about
pay-per-view.
headshots. Ooh. Yeah, it's
or
tough
the
to watch.
or the power bombs to the floor.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
just
Yep.
F you,
And
buddy.
then Awesome, like leaping over at the end before anybody knew he was okay.
Mike
it was rough.
Mike Awesome was a freak.
Really good.
Yeah,
I forgot how good he was.
And you can check out that show. It's on our archives. And we posted it here. The video's on our YouTube and everything. But like I watched that, man, and I think I remember seeing that show, and I was just I don't remember Mike Awesome being like that. Was just unreal.
And that was him, like
Yeah.
height of powers. He was insane.
Like
Like
WCW killed his character completely.
like
That was him in ECW.
When he went to WCW and he became like the fat chick thriller and that 80s guy or that 70s guy. Like now don't get me wrong, he made that 70s guy work. But being that best you could with that Mike gimmick. Awesome, right? Like God. But there's only some with a character like that Mike Awesome, he would have just like, unless you put him at the top of the card, like you had to push him down some way.
Yep. Right.
Because he wouldn't have been denied. Like he would have been doing stuff that the fans were just like, yup, all of this. Forever.
But so check that out. And if you have any more ideas of different watch-alongs you want to see, I think there was an episode or two of like Superstars. I think somebody had messaged into us, so we'll get around.
I'd love to go back and watch one of them for sure. I'm sure like El Matador's one of them.
I've gone back and watched a couple of the ones from the Hershey Park Arena. The episodes.
Have you?
I've watched a bunch of them on the network.
It's a blast. It's a fun little watch.
Yeah,
they kill it.
Is Mania or anything on there with like Todd Grisham?
I don't know if Mania's on there. I don't know. And you mean Todd Pettengill?
Whatever.
They're sick.
Yeah, Todd Pettengill.
By the way, I'm shameless plug to our pal the Boar. Still the most comfortable fucking wrestling shirt I've ever bought.
Every shirt of his is made exactly the same.
My life. I love this one. I think he has he has like the wolf pack themed one now.
That shirt is the best shirt in wrestling history.
That shirt is hot.
That's a great shirt.
Does he still have the SmackDown?
The Boar Zone, yes.
The Boar Zone. I might have to get that one too because I love it. I love like vintage style ones, but he finally got the fat man size.
If you're interested, hit him up at Boris War. I know he was for Black Friday, but he may be doing it too. Like a lot of people were doing like % off sales, and he understands that % off doesn't work for everybody during this time. Like
that's legit.
Talk to him and tell him that Tim from 3 Count Thursday sent you and that you want one of the softest shirts in the history of this great sport, and we will make something work for you. We meaning he. He's not in my pocket. I don't have him. But
yeah, he's good people. He's all time good place, good people.
He's a good placer. He's always at the height of his powers. And he lifts real heavy stuff.
And thick thighs on the board.
Thickum.
Real thickum.
He's the definition of a hoss. Now, enough about retro wrestling.
Yeah,
what happened this week, Jim?
Well, I mean, it's kind of retro wrestling, but it happened last night, so it's not technically retro. The Wednesday Night Wars, or at least one of those shows, namely AEW, made quite the splash last night, made quite the impact last night, if you will. Yeah, let's talk Sting first. We'll get to Kenny Omega and the title and Don Callis and the impact stuff, because both of these things are important, but I want to unpack them separately. So let's start with Sting. It was at the end of the Cody and Darby versus what's Hobbs's new name?
Ice Train.
Ice Train. They changed
Powerhouse Hobbs, right?
Powerhouse Hobbs. So don't tell me the WWE is the only company that makes goofy name changes.
Ice Train.
Hobbs and
no Powerhouse
Shaw.
Hobbs would be
Powerhouse
if he was WWE.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Who was he teaming with?
Was he teaming with
Ricky Skaggs?
Ricky Skaggs.
Yeah.
Ricky Skaggs.
Bo Skaggs.
Yes.
Bubba Sparks.
So the end of the match ended in a typical, and I'm going to say typical AEW fashion with.
Fuck! Here we go.
No. Just
that took 3 seconds.
And I even tweeted it out before the lights went off, and then I was like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then we see Sting. And this is this isn't an AEW thing. This is a WWE, AEW, NXT problem. Let the guy come out before you put his name on the Tron, please. Just why do you get? We know you can see him coming. We don't need to see his.
Nah, I need the name first.
Stop it.
You absolutely
Were you saying
need
the
the
same?
name.
Were you saying the same thing at the Royal Rumble when they put
Say it,
AJ
Tim.
Styles' name on the Tron before he walked out and did the pyro deal? Same shit, Jim.
Okay, I retract my argument. That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's
no, I
Because
thought
it makes
this
people do a double take. They see the name and they're like, "Is this a bait?" And then they walk out and they're like, "It's Sting!"
Yeah, that was Tony, that was Schiavone last night.
Yo, man, I was Tony Schiavone. I was Tony Schiavone that night. Well, so fun fact, I wasn't watching Impact. I wasn't watching AEW or NXT last night until I got a tweet from PW Insider saying Sting debuts. And I'm like, what?
Say what now?
And luckily, I have Hulu TV.
What?
So Hulu TV's on a delay. By the time I boot up Hulu, it was the end of the beatdown, and Hobbs and Shaw are beating up the Nightmare family. And then lights go out, snow falls. Immediately, I'm like, this is Glacier.
I know, that's what I thought. I'm like, seriously,
As
we're
soon as
going
I saw the
for
snow,
Glacier?
Glacier's a member of the Nightmare family. This makes sense. But then I see the Scorpion deal, and I'm like, what? And then it's Stang, and then he's got a bat pocket.
Right, the bat pocket in the jacket.
Why can't I get a bat pocket?
I mean, do you walk around with the bat at all times?
I would if I had a bat pocket.
I mean,
that's a fair point.
You know a lot of people in wrestling, and like a lot of people in wrestling know a lot of seamstresses. So,
hey, listen here, Devin.
Uh-oh.
No.
Tim's just whipping it out.
It's out here, all of it.
You know,
I got
and
two hands on it, so you can't see it.
And just the way, sure. Just the way that he came to the ring, went to eat, you know, each person in the ring. The stare down with his son Darby Allin was fantastic.
Yes.
Like, and then just walks off, and I'm like, that was perfect.
See, to me, it was the face to face with his son Cody, and then his grandson Darby. Now, even then, did you notice that the only person who stood up and got in his face was Darby?
Yes.
Everybody else stayed down. Well, I mean, obviously Arn was up.
Arn can't get down.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Arn was down.
Poor Arn.
Arn was like, if I stay down for too long, they think that I need to hit my life alert. I have to get up.
Right.
And then, so he gets up, but Cody's down. Darby gets up. Who's the third? Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin's came out.
Dustin's in the corner. It did kind of look weird because Sting kind of looked like he was smelling Darby.
Yeah, have you been around Darby Allin? You just
I've never
know.
been around him.
He probably stinks. I would imagine he stinks.
As a fat person, I resent that.
It stinks.
No, I think it's more the skater culture. I would assume that there's
like
I've been at a couple of skate parks and there's a stank.
Yeah, I would feel like he smells like coffee and like burnt down cigarettes and weed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an appropriate.
Funny
But I feel
say
like
that.
every
I just bought
skater
that
would
scent
smell
at
like
Bath
that.
and Body Works.
You get it right.
For 10.
But yeah, it was a badass moment. Like, we talk on this show regularly about moments are bigger than matches. That is an all-time moment. Whether AEW lasts for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 2 years, that's an all-time moment that lives.
And it got ESPN talking.
Yeah, ESPN, Bleacher Report, I think, tweeted on it.
Yeah,
that's important.
It's something. Like,
Didn't get them to 1 million ratings, but
they did beat NXT again.
They did
handily this time.
Like,
I mean,
300,000.
almost 300,000 votes. Yeah, still in that
no,
fucking
that's
vote.
that's the recounts. That
my bad.
But no,
how many people knew about this though before last night? Like, kudos to the AEW group and everybody involved for this not leaking.
They hyped up the show. They used the Winter is Coming, which is
an anagram of Sting.
Is that?
No, it's not.
But like, so they partner with HBO. Like, doesn't Turner own HBO or something along those lines?
I think so.
Because I think that's the reason they could use Winter is Coming, because of Game of Thrones.
Right, yeah, because that's obviously trademarked.
Yeah, it's a Game of Thrones reference. So, but even
Did
so,
you guys hear the HBO Max news?
That is so dope.
That really is
about the movies, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Every Warner Brothers movie that is being released in 2021 will be released on HBO Max at the same time
for 1 month.
Now, do you have to pay extra for those? Like, if you subscribe to HBO Max,
No.
It's just on there.
There. HBO Max might be my favorite streaming service.
Nice.
And I have weird flex. I have like all of them.
Is that because of common connections? Or you personally subscribe to all of them?
What ends up happening is that somebody in the house wants it, and I'm like, okay. So like, I do not have, like, in our house combined, we have Hulu, because I have Hulu and Hulu TV.
Mm-hmm.
We have YouTube Premium, but not YouTube TV.
Okay.
We have Crunchyroll. We have Funimation. We have HBO Max.
I think he's making up words again.
Friendly.
Is that the Fuzzies one? The furry one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Friendly. So we got Friendly for 3 channels. The 2 Hallmark channels and the Game Show Network. What else do we have?
That's a good
I
reason.
like Friendlies for their chicken tenders and coleslaw.
I have WWE Network. I just subscribed to Impact Plus again. Perfect timing.
I like Friendlies Sundays.
Well done.
What else do I have?
You have Netflix?
I have Netflix, the one thing that I haven't said yet.
Right.
Apple TV, Amazon Video.
Well, do you have
Pornhub
Amazon
Premium.
Video because you're a Prime shopper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, I have been a Prime shopper throughout the pandemic, and I mean, it just so happens that you get the video, which is an added bonus, that and the music.
And just getting anything you want to buy in 2 days.
Well, yeah, that's always kind of
also
nice.
pretty nice.
That is also pretty nice.
Instant gratification.
But
It's here.
but yeah, I mean, Ryan, Mark, any thoughts on the initial, the moment of Sting's debut, and then we'll kind of unpack some of the questions that go along with Sting in AEW.
Again, my biggest thing was this wasn't leaked beforehand, and what it takes to keep something like that quiet is I didn't hear a word about it. Obviously, we knew the winter thing's coming. The moment that Sting came out, my first thought was Tony Khan sent that tweet the wrong week. Because if anything's going to like change the balance of power, last night was it. Sting I think changes the balance of power more than Pac does. Not in a wrestling point of view, but just in
100%.
a name. It absolutely does. That is a much bigger
Yeah.
deal than Pac returning.
Did Don Callis debut then, or did he debut at the pay-per-view?
I think he was at the pay-per-view.
Okay, because if it was Don Callis,
Yes, Don Callis was not then. Don Callis
okay,
was, I think, the pay-per-view.
And then
And was it just last night, right?
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I think
and also Disney Plus. I forgot about Disney Plus.
Well, that goes without saying.
But yeah, it's that is always impressive, and you know, WWE has been able to do it, like some of the Jericho returns and stuff like that. Anytime you can pull off something like that, because I honestly thought when Tony sent that tweet out the other week, my first thought was Sting, because there was all the buzz about how he had gotten out of his contract with WWE or it expired and whatever. And I was like, okay, so he's just, this Sting's, and when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, so that was a fart in the wind. Like, why, you know, you don't need to make statements like that, Tony and Dixie, if it's not going to pan itself out.
Dixie Carter.
A couple of weeks later, it actually does.
And to a certain degree, I still don't think that Sting alone swings the balance of power to AEW.
More than Pac would.
I think that the Sting return partnered with the main event segment.
No question.
Yes. Yeah, and we'll get there.
Because I think those two are more closely tied than you think.
They certainly could be. It was noted that it is a multi-year deal. From the Wrestling Observer, Sting is reportedly not going to take any bumps due to history with the neck injuries. Obviously, if he would do anything physical, it would be executed with the utmost precaution, safety measures. Possibly in some sort of a cinematic situation.
So definitely not in the ring with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, probably not going to see Sting versus Sammy. That's for sure.
Got it.
Or Matt Hardy. The Observer notes that AEW does plan to use Sting as a regular character on TV, not as a top star who only makes occasional appearances. He was signed to AEW. They wanted to bring in a top star from the older generation of TNT viewers to help bring back some of those fans and have that wrestler perform as a regular on TV. His debut was timed to go along with the Christmas holiday. They're already, of course, selling Sting merchandise, giving them some momentum going into the Christmas season. His shirt within like 9 hours was already the highest selling shirt in a 24-hour period, and it was up there for less than 12. So that's a significant situation as well. Obviously, moving merchandise, and that was like the first place my mind went to. Like after the segment, I'm like, he's not gonna wrestle, is he? And it's no slight on him as a performer or anything like that, but I think about the way that his career in WWE ended with the injury. I'm like, I don't need to see. And obviously, if it happens, I'm taking the same stance as I took with the Undertaker. He gets to make that call. That's not for me to make. That's for him to take. But personally, I'm like, man, I don't need to see almost 62-year-old Sting with a bad neck out there bumping hard. Like, because I'm going, is it worth it? Is it worth it? But so where and how do you think he is going to be used? Is it a Darby Dad situation? Like, is he kind of a manager? I don't think we see him as like an authority figure, so to speak, like a general manager or what have you. So how do you think I'm going to go back here to a question Scotty asked from the start. Which Sting debut? Oh, Ryan died. Which Sting debut was better to you, Survivor Series 2014 or last night? Honestly, I kind of like both of them. Like if I'm going to give the edge to one or the other, I might go with the WWE one because I didn't think I ever really expected him to ever end up in the WWE. I bet Ryan forgot to plug his computer in. When he gets back with us, I'm going to ask him, but I'm almost willing to bet that that's what happened. But I may give the edge. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. I may give the edge of the WWE one just because, like, I didn't expect it. What happened, Ryan?
My bad. New computer. I was touching things I shouldn't have. I ended up leaving the thing. I thought I was closing out of the internet browser. I fucked everything up. My bad.
Not the first
I
time.
launched it. I launched it in the app, not the browser. I thought I was good. I closed the wrong thing.
Not the first time you had to scramble to close an internet browser, though. I bet.
We're not talking about that.
So yeah, if I'm comparing Sting debuts and which one kind of like surprised me more, I would probably say the WWE one because I don't think I ever truly expected him there.
I think
Tim?
that's fair.
Ryan,
I'm not surprised with what you said.
which one surprised you more, last night or his one at Survivor Series?
You saying AEW would have surprised me more.
Perfect. Mark, how about you?
I think his AEW debut surprised me more.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, I thought there was rumors of him showing up in WWE before it happened, but last night I haven't heard anything about Sting being in the AEW, so that was pretty exciting. And I really enjoyed hearing Tony Schiavone yell at Sting one more time.
That was pretty special. And that coming from a guy that wasn't a huge WCW guy. So it had to be even more to people like Tim. Then Scotty also says that Sting doesn't really move the needle for him. Does he move it for you? I mean, Sting's one of those guys. He's an all-time legend. So like, obviously, I'm more of a WWE guy. So it doesn't have the same impact for me. For me, I guess if we didn't see Austin make random appearances from time to time, and then all of a sudden, the glass shattered and Austin came out while there was some beatdown segment. I feel like it's that kind of a situation where it's an all-time legend that's making an appearance. So like, whether I don't have the same connect, but it does move the needle for me because it is one of those guys that Sting is Sting.
Yep. Sting, he's been away long enough that you miss him, and he doesn't come around enough, so you never know when he's coming back. At least with like Stone Cold, he'll come around. Like, it's not a surprise when Stone Cold shows up. It's a surprise when The Rock shows up.
Yeah.
It's a surprise when Sting shows up.
Yeah.
Like, it was a surprise when Hogan would show up, at least prior to his current state.
Yeah.
But like, either way, it's like, he's special. He's extra special to a set of fans, and he is special to wrestling as a whole.
I think that's a great way to put it.
He absolutely has a tender place to me as being like, I've said it before, I'll say it 1,000 times. My favorite wrestler is like the Godhead. It's 1 and 3. At any point, anyone can be the one, or it's Sting, it's The Undertaker, and it's Great Muta. And whenever I wake up, I pray to one of them, and that's who's my number one for the day. but they're all the same and they're all number one. There's no like ones less. But Undertaker's gone.
You go.
And now Sting's here. And I'm like, yay.
You're happy again.
Yeah.
You were sad and now you're happy.
I'm very happy. I'm
Your
glad
prayers
now.
are answered.
Now, hey, Tony Khan, what's Muda doing? Call him.
Boy, wouldn't that be great?
He's theoretically retired, right?
I saw him wrestle in Philly
think
last
so.
year.
Yeah, it was a year ago. He was wrestling matches on the Indies.
Well,
A year ago, he was at the ECW arena for that NX or that TNA show,
Yeah.
and he teamed with Tommy Dreamer to take on Johnny Impact and another bad place individual, Michael Elgin.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, just rinse my mouth out. And I saw a banger of a triple threat match during that show too. Willie Mack, Rich Swann, and Teddy Hart.
Oh shit.
Yo, Teddy Hart could go, man.
Sure as hell
Teddy
can,
Hart
man.
also a very bad placer.
Yeah, I was
place.
gonna say like
Yo, that
he can go, but it's a
Yeah.
shame because he can also just go.
It's a shame.
He can go,
It's a
but he
shame.
should go.
It's a shame that he is fueled by the devil and he has
Ugh.
worms for brains.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of almost insulting to worms. So
Here's the deal with Sting, real quick. Sting is the guy from WCW at the top of the card that people don't shit on when he returns, like Goldberg.
That's
Yes.
true.
but also
Yep.
Name anybody else from the top of a WCW card that you would be like, oh, great to see him back. 'Cause Goldberg is the guy.
DDP?
Kevin.
Yeah, but he was already
Nash.
over there in the Nightmare family.
Yeah. I mean, Big Kev.
I think WWE trots him out enough that it's not a
Yeah.
big surprise. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Sting was. I mean,
I,
But look,
I also
like,
think
Luger is in a wheelchair.
he is. It's a
Hogan
shame.
is redacted.
sure.
brother.
Like I'm trying to think of other main event dudes.
I know, right?
Booker T is on
lockdown.
lockdown with WWE. Jeff
Right.
Jarrett's on lockdown with WWE.
Paul and Nash kind
Scott
of are.
Steiner is busy opening up Shoney's.
Hey, they got great steaks.
Like,
Ham
everybody
cubes.
needs their show.
I'd be something if Scott Steiner showed up.
Yeah, I'd be more hype if Rick Steiner
giant-
showed up.
Yeah,
Give me the
And
dog
started
face
beating,
forever.
Yeah.
started beating somebody up
Yeah.
with the school board.
I also think to the Goldberg thing, I also think it's because of the way that Goldberg has been used. Like he gets brought back and he gets put at the top of the card,
that's a good point.
I
like
also
at
think,
the expense of people that should be
Fiend.
expended.
I mean, also, the people who dump on him is the internet wrestling community. And we were hurt by him at WrestleMania 20
That's true.
when him
That's
and
true.
Brock left. And
Yep.
we complain that WWE doesn't remember old stuff, but that's because we hold on to old stuff. And
Deep in.
Goldberg from WrestleMania 20 is not the same Goldberg from WrestleMania 33.
Okay.
They're not the same guy.
They're not. However, the one at WrestleMania 33 also came back and took titles from Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens. So they we still get hurt.
Wham.
We
It's a
still
prop,
get hurt.
Jim.
It is, but it hurts me still.
Well, Fiend got
it's a
Alexa
different
Bliss at
hurt.
the end, so ha.
That's true. Fiend does win. Fiend does win. Okay, let's
You get
pause
the
here.
last laugh.
Let's put the pause here. Let's take our break. We'll come back. We'll kind of because I think, like you said, I think some of the Sting stuff also goes into what happened at the end and what's coming on Tuesday, not Wednesday next week. So stick with us here on the other side as we continue 3 Count Thursday live.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop. Welcome back, 3 Count Thursday. We are live here on Facebook. Make sure you are following us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to us on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, as well as Amazon Music as well. So make sure you are subscribed to us. If you do subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rate and review. We'd appreciate 5 stars, both in the U.S. and in God damn it. Why does that always go really quiet when we come back from commercial?
I think it's connected. The volume fader that is connected. Like your mic and the soundboard is the same.
You're right. You're right. So, okay. I'll try to remember that for next week.
Sticky note.
Sticky note. Bam! Stick it right up here. I got 3 monitors. I got an extra screen on one. I got screens everywhere. So I will.
I'm doing pretty much the same thing with 2 because I got Zoom here, and then I've got the live feed of 3 Count here, and then on the next, like I split my second monitor into 2, so half is the live feed, and then the other half is the broadcasting software.
Right. Yeah. I got laptop with the Zoom. I got one monitor with my volume, my audio recorder, my iTunes. Then I have iPad, iPhone. My third monitor's got the soundboard.
Mamma mia!
And then
Why
I have
did you have to hit that one.
It was the first one I saw. It was the first one I saw. And then I have a separate computer over here that I got Twitter going so I can post out when we're talking about things. So I got screens and everything going everywhere. So sometimes it's hard to keep track of.
Did you ever see this one?
I did. Boy.
I don't think
is that like the Sting Jesus one?
Yes.
Is that okay? That's what I thought it was. I never watched it. I picked it up at like a yard sale or something.
Yeah, you probably paid the right price for it too.
Or Pain and Ultimate Triumph.
That good, huh?
Sting Moment of Truth.
So they tell some good stories about Sting's life, but even as a person who has a faith, it's a bit heavy-handed.
Oh, it's that over the top.
Boy, they really scrub in the gospel message with like a pumice stone
under your nipples.
Well, on my chest. It's like,
what church have you been going to?
It's like a vapor wub. It's like it gets. You rub it in, and it lathers into your hamburger meat.
Jesus,
that was strangely arousing.
Inner chest where the Holy Spirit lives. Outer chest where the areolas live.
Okay.
Very
all right. Well,
different places.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I just see Tim over there rubbing himself. I just.
Oh my God!
I guess I know.
Why,
I know we were
talking. It's 2020. I was about to.
I know we were
really
talking about
Sting.
Joke. I know. Don't. I know we were talking about Sting and everything. So I didn't know if you were just getting all excited.
Stay in your lane, Tim. That's my job.
You have
I
like
say you've been
really
letting up on your job because Tim's had to take.
you're borderline wholesome gang around here.
I wouldn't go that far.
Who was
Okay,
the one who
so
made the
then-
Ryan Dunn joke? Me.
I know.
I would never make a Ryan Dunn joke though.
I know, because you're afraid to.
Oh, that's not true.
DKY Jackass guy.
Yeah.
I loved that stuff too.
Brian, did
Oh,
you
I
ever
know,
get the DVD from that Halloween show, by the way?
I have a T-shirt from going there. Do you still have your shirt?
Oh, no. I think I got rid of it on account that my friends didn't tell me they were going.
You didn't like the city anyway.
No, I think I did. I wasn't Tim's is backing out. Tim's like, I'm out of here. Okay, let's go back to wrestling and talking wrestling. The end of the night saw a AEW World Heavyweight title change in the finish to a match that I did not like the finish. I like where we're going, but I did not like the actual executed finish. Don Callis gets involved in the end of what the hell is happening?
I'm a bunny.
What the hell is even that?
I'm a bunny.
Hit me up with it.
I'm a bunny.
What the hell is even that?
Callis gets involved. Kenny wins the title. They run out of there like the building's on fire. Callis says, we'll explain everything on Tuesday night on Impact. And then it was like, okay.
Wait. My favorite part of the whole thing is stupid Marvez. Tuesday night, Dynamite's on Wednesday.
Shut your ass.
Idiot. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
Stupid idiot. You fathead.
So like now if this is what Tony meant by a shift of power within the industry, this is going to get attention. And like, I'm going to tune into Impact on Tuesday night. I haven't tuned in to Impact on Tuesday night, I think, since the second week of EC3's appearances there months ago.
When was Kurt Angle there?
I think that was September, October. I don't know. It was sometime earlier in 2020 when there was leaves on the trees. That those things I know. But I'm going to tune in on Tuesday because I'm intrigued by what the hell just happened at the end of Dynamite last night. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Tim, we'll jump to you first.
So, I think this is very interesting to accomplish in 2020. It's nice to see AEW actually do something in an alternative fashion than the WWE. As claiming to be an alternative, WWE would never partner up with another company and have their world's champion show up on another program. Never.
Smoky Mountain?
That's not cable.
Okay, that's fair.
And wrestling at that time, way different than now. Like,
you said not ever, not me.
That fair? In this sort of climate, with the amount of eyes that can be on it,
that's fair.
As it happens, it is unheard of. And I mean, the closest we've been to this over the last 20 years was when Taz, a WWF product, and Mike Awesome, a WCW product, fought for the ECW championship. And then the ECW title was on SmackDown, but that was the ECW title. It wasn't WWE. Like, it is very interesting to see how close this partnership is. There's a lot of interchangeable parts between Impact and AEW nowadays, where it makes sense on multiple levels. But to not steal all of the thunder in the first round, I'm very intrigued.
Ryan, how about you?
No, I too am intrigued by this. I think Tim made a really good point. I'm not trying to rebut, I suppose.
No.
The only other thing that I could liken this to is a partnership that we saw with Ring of Honor and New Japan that allowed big things at the time, like the Bullet Club, to kind of interchange back and forth between the States and Japan. And that really sparked, I think, the Bullet Club craze that we saw here, that we saw the New Japan Funko Pops here from Hot Topic, things like that. So I think this can be on an even greater scale because we're dealing with two American companies, and I feel like if you're, I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to sound, if you're not watching Japanese wrestling, I don't think you care that Ring of Honor is partnering with Japan. If you watch American wrestling, this is a really big deal to have Impact Wrestling, AEW, and what this is going to, is it a long-term deal? Is it just to get through COVID? We don't know, a lot of unknowns, but again, a really, really cool thing. It can create a lot of interesting matchups if we're seeing a lot of cross-branded stuff. I will stop there because I know there's more to talk about.
Right.
Marky Mark!
Hi. I'll tell you what,
Hi,
I think it's fantastic. Hi, boys. I think it's great that AEW is partnering with Impact, and of course they have that relationship with the NWA. It's only going to help professional wrestling, especially the smaller leagues, I guess you could say. So pretty much anything that's non-WWE. But it is very exciting, and I too will be tuning in to Impact, other than to see Jordan Grace and the Sea Stars.
So to kind of go back to Ryan, with the ROH and New Japan partnership, it felt more as in New Japan was the person who had all the leverage and was using Ring of Honor to get a foothold into U.S. territory.
Sure, for sure.
And they pretty much left ROH to die.
They did, unfortunately.
Like when the New Japan partnership was over, it was like, okay, the Bucks are leaving to go do All Elite Wrestling.
Bye-bye.
Kenny Omega is leaving New Japan to go do All Elite Wrestling. Hangman, who was getting poised to be a big thing for Ring of Honor, is leaving. SCU is leaving. Like, ROH got left for dead to the point where the two biggest people left during when that split happened was Marty Scurll and Flip Gordon. As far as like big name, like, of course, Ring of Honor. Now, this is not to discredit like Jay Lethal still being there, Dalton Castle still being there,
the
Briscoes,
them boys,
but like the big names associated that were equal to and associated with
fucking Flip, man, my God,
like the two names associated with All Elite or the AEW group in ROH was those two.
And Tim, not right before all of that happened, Adam Cole left. Red Dragon goes gone.
Yes.
They lost a ton real quick.
They did. They very much
you
did.
have to. I'd love to take a moment and salute what that era of Ring of Honor was, because these are the main players that we're seeing in other promotions today.
The Wednesday
and I
Night
think
Wars.
Ring of Honor has always done that.
Yeah.
And I feel what Ring of Honor is doing now, rebranding, bringing back the pure title, we will see 3-4 years down the road, those superstars being the foundation for the shows that we're going to be talking about 4 or 5 years from now.
Right. I think to give the other side of that, as much as I think that New Japan was the big joker and New Japan was the little joker, this feels more like to use a banking phrase, a merger of equals.
Right, because when you have the AEW World Champion and one of the biggest, backstage and whatever names with Impact, it feels important on both sides,
Yeah, it's like
which I think is critical.
that's what it is. It's definitely the brand recognition of Impact still to this day, on top of the momentum that AEW has. And for right or wrong, like, not to make another biblical reference, but Impact is the worm that dieth not.
Right.
In the
How many
Bible,
times
where
is
there's
that
like
company dead?
the flames of hell are so hot, but there's a worm that won't even die there. Impact is the worm that will not die in hell. Like, they reincarnate and reincarnate and reincarnate, and the stuff they're doing now is great. They don't have the I don't want to say they don't have the talent, but if you look at like their main event talent, it's not there. Now, where AEW has that main event talent, but Impact crushes the tag team division and the women's division, which are two things that AEW lacks severely.
Right. I mean, it says something when the best women's matches of the last 6 weeks on AEW were the NWA women's division. Like, and I'm not saying that to crap on AEW's women division. It's just they have not handled that division well. It's starting. I think that this, and Devin said it, this is going to help that immensely, because that, Impact's women's division is the only women's division in wrestling, that you can make an argument that comes close to what WWE/NXT have.
Right.
Like,
and
so
like
this is good. And I disagree with Charlie because he said it impacts TNA and does nothing for AEW. I disagree because of that women's, like, if nothing else, the women's division is going to get better because of it. The tag division, unbelievably, is going to get better because of it.
And here, the door that this unlocks, though, is the door to New Japan.
Yeah. Because you already have deals with NWA, AAA, now Impact.
They could easily partner like a talent exchange with New Japan again, especially since the Impact Tag Team Champions are the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
Like, the pieces are there to make a very profitable partnership that can see both ships rise at the same time. Like,
I think the biggest thing that this allows, and again, I disagree with Charlie here, I get what he's saying. I disagree in principle. This allows, Tim, like you had said, I don't know if Impact still has the same recognition that TNA had
right
at a time, but they have the roster that is recognizable, with Rich Swann as your champion, Anderson and Gallows fresh from the WWE as your tag team champion, Deonna Purrazzo from WWE as your tag team champ, or NXT, I guess. But lots of talent that we've seen around. Motor City Machine Guns. That's the Ring of Honor. There's so much in Impact. I just think they never had the distribution that they needed to get out and be a legitimate contender. So I do think, to Charlie's point, Impact gets more from this, but a rising tide raises all ships.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of the point. Like, what sucks, and it doesn't, and that's just, I wouldn't say it necessarily, it doesn't suck horribly, but I would have really loved to have seen this merger come, and Impact were able, now this may jump into like the news and rumor rundown, but Impact just lost the Rascals.
Oh, I forgot to include that in my.
Imagine this
newsroom.
partnership where the Rascals exist.
Right.
And you include the Rascals in this tag team mix with Top Flight, with Private Party, with the Young Bucks, with any of the tag teams, like, and it's kind of crazy, like, at least from the press release, it was only 2 members of the Rascals that got signed.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Where's Trey Miguel? Is he all elite? Is he going to ROH? Is he just waiting on formal paperwork for WWE? Like, I don't know. Like, because if that's the case and you're splitting up the 3 Rascals, that's kind of crazy too. Like, where does Trey Miguel go? Is Trey staying with Impact and they made it seem as though all of them were leaving? Because even as far as Slammiversary was concerned, Trey Miguel was being spun out of the Rascals as being a main event title contender, right? Like, he was in that multi-person match.
Yes.
It was him and Rich Swann and Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards, I think. And Trey Miguel was in that match. If
Yes.
I'm right, like, so Trey Miguel could be like a shining piece of this that if Impact is able to keep from this, more power to him.
Yeah, Charlie says here, if you take the original ECW invasion, did nothing for WWF except boost ratings. ECW was the one true beneficiary in the deal.
Correct.
Right. But I don't think that's the case here because, you know, if nothing else, your women's division is going to get better with a working partnership with Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling obviously gets a rub from AEW. And if you get that connection to Japan, you know, friend of a friend of a friend, that helps your company as well. And here's the thing, like one of AEW's, you know, mission statements or whatever you want to call it from the beginning was not to make themselves better or like necessarily hurt the WWE, but it was to make the wrestling business better and greater. And to me, a partnership with, you know, the second longest running brand in professional wrestling, and now you're uniting with them, at least in the US. Obviously New Japan and All Japan and stuff like that's been around for a very long time. But when you partner with a brand that's been around for what, 20 years now, you know, close to 20 years,
2002.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, you're almost at 20 years for TNA Impact.
That is crazy,
right? Like, I mean, I was in high school when AJ Styles, first ever X Division champion, came to our hometown, Ryan. Like,
how long was WCW like around? I mean, TNA has beaten that, correct? TNA.
So WCW was a thing in I want to say either 1989 or 1988.
Okay. So yeah, Impact's beating that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because WCW was dead in 2001. So yeah. So at best, it's what, 13 years. So yeah, Impact's beating that. Is Ring of Honor when was the Ring of Honor launched?
That was early 2002 as well.
Okay, so them and Impact have been around longer, but because of some of the dealings that Impact and TNA made, you know, bringing in Hogan and Flair and Bischoff and what have you, whether or not they panned out doesn't matter. They've made a bigger splash on the scene.
For sure.
Ring of Honor, February 23rd, 2002. Wow. ROH is older.
Okay. But to me, but it's one of the longest brands. It was my point.
Yeah.
That
by like 4 months, but
that is beneficial to AEW, 100%. And if you can form some sort of, super group between you and Impact and New Japan, and I don't know what Ring of Honor's purpose is moving forward. Obviously, with the Pure title, it seems like they're kind of sticking to their guns.
But they're also in the bubble. Like, they're the one brand that's not, like, I think Impact tapes in a bubble too, but like,
Yeah, they have no fans. They're pretty isolated.
right. But I think like ROH, everybody is staying in or around the area where they're taping.
Yeah, they bang out, I think, like 2 months worth of taping.
Yeah, they
in a
come
weekend
in,
or
they
something.
isolate for a couple days, they
Yeah.
test hard, and
Yeah.
they're bubbled for their tapings. Then everybody goes home.
Right.
I don't think ROH ever needs. I don't know if ROH ever wants to be other than what ROH is.
No, and that's
think
why I said
ROH
I don't.
is being that like indie feel alternative, and they're fine with that.
And that's why I said I don't know if they get involved, but even if you have AEW, and again, they're already working with NWA, they're working with AAA. If you can get Impact, you have Impact under the umbrella now. You get New Japan under the umbrella. That's a pretty solid grouping. Now, it's not they're not all going to merge into one new brand, but if you have a working agreement where talent from AAA can work AEW shows, talent from Impact can work AEW shows, compete for AEW titles, that'll remain to be seen. Like, if you're telling me I can get Gallows and Anderson competing against the Young Bucks for the AEW tag titles, that's a big deal. If I can get Jordan Grace competing for the the AEW women's title, that's a big deal. So to say that this doesn't help or does nothing necessarily for AEW, I think is way off base. I think this helps everybody.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to take, like, you're never going to take down the WWE. If the WWE goes down, they're doing it to themselves. But stuff like this makes ripples in the industry, and that's beneficial not only for these companies, but it's also beneficial on Mondays and Fridays in that other show on Wednesday.
See,
I think everybody assumes that it's going to be this invasion as well, and it doesn't have to be like that from the get-go. You can leave that invasion shit for a year and a half down the road. It doesn't have to start off, I don't think, as an invasion right away. I think you guys can play nice. All of a sudden, people get chippy. I don't know. I think it's insane. And again, no disrespect to Charlie. But I think you can look at, again, that women's roster and think names like Madison Rain and Jessica Havoc and Kimberly, veterans of the professional wrestling ring, and add that to what I still consider a very young AEW roster. The veteran presence will so much good, so good to that. It's unreal how beneficial that can be. Jazz, who knows what Jazz is doing right now, but you want to talk about a veteran. Jazz is that person.
Yeah, he says it's kind of like the old territory days where somebody would call Vince Sr. and say, "Hey, I want to book Andre."
Sure.
I think that's a great comparison. And if it has that sort of feel, why it's different but similar. It's the closest thing we can compare it to.
Here's the other part that people aren't necessarily thinking about, or they may be thinking about, but they're not necessarily connecting two and two. So, what is Don Callis's actual title?
The Jackal.
With Impact?
Sorry. Cyrus the Virus.
I'm looking to see. Don Callis is the executive vice president of Impact Wrestling. He's an EVP.
Huh.
Kenny Omega, while he is the AEW World Champion,
is one of 37 of those in AEW.
Correct. So it's not just Impact has taken the world champion.
Yeah.
He's taken an executive vice president.
And AEW's done the same.
It's there's something there. I don't know, it is, there is so much meat on the bone.
It's exciting. I'm
I'm ready.
from the Observer, Omega and Callis are supposed to be on, obviously, Impact on Tuesday. They're also scheduled for AEW on Wednesday. And if anybody knows what's supposed to be on Impact on AEW on Wednesdays, it's definitely the Observer. So that I can actually believe is fact from Dave Meltzer. Any other thoughts on this, guys, before we hit the question of the week and then we get to our predictions and news and rumors?
Yeah, real quick, is there a matchup now that the brands could be crossed that piques your interest the most?
Ooh.
To not put you on the spot, I will say it's in from the tag team division. I'd love to see what the North tangling with FTR. I think that
Dash one of them tweeted.
Oh, did
I
they
think
really?
Dash might have tweeted like "fuck the
cool.
North" or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, for sure.
I know
Those guys, their styles would be
Jordan
great.
Grace had like a running thread of like crossover dream matches. That is pretty solid.
Was intern Mark any of those listed?
I didn't see him on the list, but
I'd like to be on that list. Christmas is coming.
I will go with I'll go with Hikaru Shida, and I'll go with Deonna Purrazzo. I'll go with those two. Tim, is there a match from the two that a crossover you'd like to see?
So I'm actually gonna go tag team wrestling, but I'm gonna say the first dream match I had in my head was FTR versus the Motor City Machine Guns.
Ooh. I like it. I like that. And Mark, how about you?
I'll tell you, any match with Jordan Grace. But really, if you think about it, the attention you could get in pay-per-view buys with the crossover, having a Impact talent versus AEW talent, I mean, that would get me to open the wallet and be more likely to buy an AEW pay-per-view. That's for sure.
Weird. This is weird, Mark. We actually, I just looked in our mailbox over here.
You've got mail.
It appears it's a restraining order from Jordan Grace to one intern Mark. Ooh.
Mark, if there's anything good about that, you're going to get your autograph on the bottom of that paper.
That's going to be perfect.
Charlie says Sammy Callahan versus Moxley would be his.
As long as he's not spitting on people anymore, I'm fine with that.
I would be fine with that as well. That is definitely a not recommended thing to do right now. Even if you test COVID negative, still would not recommend spitting on anybody. So real quick, let's move to our the 3 count question of the week. Now, Ryan, this is your brainchild this week.
Yes, I muffed up on Meme Monday and was.
Thank you, cousin Brian, for reminding us.
Cousin Brian. I realized then we didn't have a question of the week thrown out there, so I had this saved on my phone for months, and this was the time we were going to use it.
So it's missed opportunities in wrestling, and this I think can be. I think this can be interpreted in multiple ways. I'll kick it off. I wrote a couple down, but I'll start with my first one. To me, it's that Owen Hart never won the WWF title. I think when he was in that program with Brett, whether it was the WrestleMania 10 match, the King of the Ring, or it could have been at SummerSlam, where I think they had that where they had the steel cage match. I think if you pull the trigger, even if it's from SummerSlam till Survivor Series, Owen Hart with the WWF title, I think that changes a lot of things from there and moving forward. Owen Hart's an all-time great. Owen Hart is and we've touched on this back around the Dark Side of the Ring episode. Totally understand why he will probably never be a WWE Hall of Famer, but he is a Hall of Famer. He is an all-time talent. To me, never pulling the trigger on him being the WWF champion was a huge missed opportunity. Ryan, we'll go to you since it is your topic.
I didn't have one. I just presented the question. So in a panic, chill the fuck out. Yeah. I'm the yodeling guy, just fell right off the edge. It's
Go on, Smokey.
I will say the cancellation of Wrestling Society X and that this didn't actually become anything is a shame. If you look at the roster on that and go back and watch what they were doing, that was a fresh take on studio wrestling that we see popularized now with things like the NWA, Pro Wrestling Empire, doing studio wrestling right now.
There it is.
Yeah, right off the edge. So without thinking, that's going to be my choice.
Tim, we'll go to you.
I'm always gonna remember the missed opportunity of Shelton Benjamin as a main player in WWE in like 2003.
Good.
During Triple H's reign of terror. Picked up the two big wins and just got snuffed out and never quite ascended. And now we're finally back into some sort of glory days with Shelton and the Hurt Business.
So good.
But I'm always going to lean back towards Shelton and not them not capitalizing at that point. And also, even though we just spoke highly of the partnership with AEW and Impact, how horribly WWE bungled the Invasion.
Ooh.
They purchased WCW and ECW, and they only got to November.
Yeah.
And they started bringing them in at WrestleMania.
Bad.
What?
So bad.
No, not good.
Not.
Bungled. Like,
Bungled.
that could have easily been a year each.
Yeah.
Easy.
And then you can say the same thing about the Nexus.
I mean, you could also say the same thing, and this is another one I read, WWE CW. Like I think we talked about that on our watch along, Ryan, is like just let Paul Heyman, pretty much let Paul Heyman go. Like, have somebody like kind of watching him, like, you know, have like a chaperone that just kind of sits in the corner and make sure, like, don't totally fuck this up, dude, because like you are under our umbrella now, but like just let ECW do ECW.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem with ECW on the WWE was just the size of the arena. There was just something gritty and raw about small venue ECW. That's what makes the Capitol Wrestling Center work really well for Impact. That if they kept it to smaller, I don't even want to say arenas.
I don't need to see ECW at the United Center in Chicago.
I never needed to see that. I never needed to see the big entranceway. We keep with the bricks. Keep with the open fencing. I think you would have been much better with that. And I feel like Paul Heyman would have realized, no matter the budget, we need to keep this
N37
what it was.
I think that was the problem.
I think
you're
right.
McMahon didn't like Bingo Hall Wrestling.
I like Bingo Hall Wrestling.
Intern Mark, is there a missed opportunity that you can think of?
Yes. Tim kind of touched on it. I would say any invasion angle in WWE. The WCW one was probably the biggest miss, along with ECW, and so forgettable. Vince brought in the NWO when he could. They brought in Paul and Nash as the NWO, and that just went right down the toilet real fast.
Creation.
That was well. First of all, I don't think the fans accepted it.
No, I also
they wanted Hogan as a face. But
it also didn't help that 80,000 or whatever it was at the Sky Dome turned Hogan face at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of the issue too. Part of the issue too is that when WCW was purchased, there was two different types of contracts. there was the WCW contracts, and there were the Time Warner contracts. And WCW or WWE kind of absolved all the WCW contracts. But those Time Warner contracts, Hall, Nash, Hogan, Goldberg, Rick Steiner, Sting, those guys had to pretty much say, okay, we will give up the free Turner money to sign a WWE contract. And why are you going to turn down money where you can sit at home for free?
Yeah. Why? Why would you? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Heck no.
I mean, another missed opportunity, and it's not so much a missed opportunity as it is just kind of like a mishandled opportunity, but the actual breaking of the streak. Like giving the streak giving the streak to Brock Lesnar instead of having it go to someone else. Like even the Undertaker said it on the One More Round with Steve Austin. Like,
yeah,
the streak meant something. Give it to someone else. Give it to someone worthwhile.
Yeah, and
that's a great point. Tim, let's talk about that for a second, real quick, if we can.
Yeah, sure.
Who would it be that's not already made today? Because I feel like everybody thinks it should have been Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was made a totally different way, and that's what made Roman Reigns who he is today.
Mm-hmm.
The Fiend and Bray Wyatt made totally different ways. I can't think of anybody at or near the top of the card at that time, mid to upper mid, that could have actually done it and truthfully benefited from it.
So you have WrestleMania. So WrestleMania 30. So let's say WrestleMania 30, he beats Brock.
Okay.
31, he faces Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Bray Wyatt was not a made dude at 31. That was Bray Wyatt's first WrestleMania.
He lost to Cena at 30. He lost to Cena at 30.
Okay, so it's his second Mania.
Yeah.
So it could have been Bray.
Who does he wrestle at 31?
Bray fights The Undertaker.
That was 31.
Yeah.
We had like the walkers. Yeah, okay.
Yep. 32. I literally just ran down all the Undertaker's opponents.
32 was Roman.
No, that was Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas was 32.
Dallas was 33, I thought.
Dallas was 32. Roller Coaster was 33.
Okay.
Then they went back to New Orleans for 34, New York for 35,
okay.
The Performance Center for 32.
So Roman was 32. No, Roman was 33.
Roman was Roller Coaster.
The Hell in a Cell match was 32. No. You didn't.
Shane McMahon!
We worked it in, baby.
One of these days, a new
have a great night, everybody.
Can we just all agree to start calling him Vince's kid?
Nope.
I mean, if you do, I don't get to hit the button.
Correct.
You have to change your own vocabulary. If I hear that name,
I didn't say his name first.
It doesn't matter. Just for good
measure.
Just
you say it.
So it was. It was Shoe Guy at 32.
There you go.
Shoe Guy works.
Shoe Guy. Yeah, Shoe Guy works.
So, So it doesn't go to him. It could have been Bray. Could have been Roman. Like, that could have put Roman over the top.
But didn't Roman beating him even with one loss put him over the top anyway?
It did, but it would have meant more if it was 0.
Okay.
Because I
feel like you get that Raw moment where the boos are raining regardless. It's
I also think though, if the streak makes it would have been 23-0 going into Mania 33. Because it was 21-1. So that would have been 22-0, 23-0, 20 he would have been 24-0.
Right.
Going into Roman.
Right, and he ends his career with 1 loss.
At 24-1, he's done. And we don't get the Cena matchup. We don't get anything bonus after that.
We don't get the Boneyard match.
But even if he beats Roman, say he beats Roman at 33. The only other person who comes around anywhere close to after that could use it, Drew McIntyre.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew could put him down.
I mean, the WWE could have also really fucked it up and been like, here's Otis versus The Undertaker. So, I'm just saying.
Got our top suspect right here.
Oh, yes, Chucky, we have our top suspect. Tomato chips.
Yes. Or you know, if you really want to, play it out, you could bring up, and Adam
brought
Cole.
up an NXT guy.
You could have brought up a
tomato chips.
You could have brought a Tommaso Ciampa. You could have
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it could have been a Kevin Owens.
Like there's definitely possibilities. I can understand.
I don't believe Adam Cole or Kevin Owens defeats The Undertaker if the likes of Roman Reigns cannot.
I'm not saying
for me, Roman. I just that was his name. I don't think. While it could have, infinitely made Roman like untouchable, I also don't think Roman Reigns needed it. I feel like a guy like Bray Wyatt. Now, don't get me wrong, with the Fiend and everything they've been doing here recently, the Bray / the Fiend has recovered, but I feel like the Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family, that could have been served pretty well by defeating The Undertaker. Charlie here says he'll always say Orton or Punk. Orton doesn't need it. Punk didn't need it, but it could have happened at 29.
Punk at 29 would have been wild.
Could Orton have used it when he faced him at 21? Because,
sure.
Not saying bring back Orton later, but think about the early run. So, he was coming off of his return with Kane.
Mm-hmm.
You had, from then, it was Orton, Mark Henry, Batista, Edge. Those 4, with the exception of Mark Henry. But Orton, Batista, Edge. One of those 3 could have easily ended the streak, considering that Edge was also undefeated in singles competition at WrestleMania.
At the same time, at WrestleMania 21, he only became 13-0. So does it mean as much then? I think they only even really started acknowledging it at WrestleMania 19
with 10.
Yeah, because he sits there on the
he counts it. It doesn't get as big, but it is absolutely mentioned.
You skipped over Mark Henry. Think what that would have done for Mark Henry career.
Correct.
Though. Totally different stratosphere of a performer.
Right.
If you're Mark Henry and you knock off Taker at WrestleMania.
Right. He doesn't break out. He doesn't fully break out until. Does he become World Heavyweight Champion? He becomes World Heavyweight Champion after his match with Undertaker against Randy Orton.
Got that Taker rub, baby.
It could have been it could have been Mark Henry, but it's none of the Shawn Michaels matches. It's none of the Triple H matches. So then it gets to CM Punk.
Charlie says if it had been Punk, maybe he would have stayed. They're taking the belt off him for Rock or Cena, but we're giving you the streak. Punk had the belt for 400 plus days. Punk was one of the most featured players. If he needed the streak to stay, Vince was going to let him walk anyhow. Because at that point, you're trying to make yourself bigger than the company, in my opinion. Like, and I've come around and I don't have anger towards CM Punk like I did when he left, but like any of this notion or belief that Punk was disrespected, slighted, crapped on, anything like that in any way, shape, or form, when you hold a belt for 400 plus days in this era, the WWE Championship, which is hot potato. I mean, we just saw Drew McIntyre had it from WrestleMania. They just throw it off of him for a couple of weeks and then they toss it back to him, and potentially hot potatoing again. Obviously, Money in the Bank still in play, but yeah, I don't necessarily buy into that. Davin says here about Aleister Black maybe being one. I mean, if it plays out till 35, 36, Aleister Black has that vibe to him.
Mm-hmm.
That could certainly be somebody. Mark, is there anybody that that you can think of that should have gotten it?
Well, I don't know if I'd say he should have gotten it, but it certainly would have put the rocket ship on the Miz to beat the Undertaker with like a heel roll up or some type of heel tactic. I'm not saying I would agree with that, but boy, it would have sent him to the stratosphere, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
By that point, by the time he would have
Boy,
faced the
other than-
Undertaker, though, the Miz would have already beaten John Cena twice at WrestleMania. Now, there was a point in time in which, like, the Miz dipped after losing the title, because even though he did beat John Cena, I think he lost the title to John Cena the next month on pay-per-view. And then the Miz was nowhere near the world title picture until now.
Yeah,
and
you're
even
right.
then, like, it's only because of Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, an Undertaker, like, if it would have been the Miz instead of John Cena at 34, and that would have been cool.
Yeah, Char, I know you're a big Karrion Kross guy, but Cross ain't that dude. Cross ain't the dude to put out Undertaker. Sorry, he's not. He's got a cool entrance. I love the entrance.
I don't know if Undertaker lasts.
Like,
I don't think the streak lasts.
No. And here's the thing, like, I love the entrance with Cross and Scarlett, and I love me some Scarlett Bordeaux, but Cross ain't that dude. He's not an all-time dude. He's not a Roman, he's not a Bray, he's not a Cena, and I know I'm throwing out some huge names. He's not a Punk, he's not a Norton. He's not that dude. He's just not that. He's not a Drew McIntyre.
Cross's problem is he's 35 years old already. That's Cross's problem, and only now in WWE.
Oh, fuck. If the streak makes it to this year, AJ Styles could be that dude. AJ Styles could have been the dude to break the streak and put down Taker.
Ooh, I don't know what that does for Styles on the way out.
Well, but you can take it and then what they could have done with Brock is when somebody finally does dethrone him, it can mean more. I don't think by the time now, Charlie, he's not. Yeah, you love the guy. I'm not trying to take away your love for Karrion Kross, but like he's not that dude. He's not that dude.
What are Taker's stats real quick? Like, Kross is a big guy in NXT. Kross is 6'4", 265. Kross is a big boy for NXT. I don't think that stacks up appropriately with the Undertaker. It would be a cool match, Charlie. I'd love the match. I don't think it's a Mania match.
That's a great match on WWE 2K20.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
Taker is billed at 6'10", 308.
So he's got 6 inches and 38 pounds over Karrion Kross. That's going to make Kross not look so big. And I think that's part of Kross's game is he looks big. He's a big boy.
And my only point to AJ
Scarlett.
Styles.
Let's not forget about beautiful, beautiful Scarlett.
My only point to AJ Styles is AJ Styles is a name that, like, across wrestling, and because he was able to retain his name, that everybody knows. Like, I just don't think Karrion Kross is that dude. He just isn't. And again, I'm not crapping on the guy.
I don't think there's a dude in NXT that is that guy right now.
It would be a great match 5 to 7 years ago. Sure, but
Hi, Mark.
Okay, let's get to NXT Takeover, and then we will have 2 items in our news and rumor.
I forgot all about that.
But this Sunday is
War Games! Of War Games! War Games! War Games!
It's not War Games until William Regal screams War Games. And I was hoping we'd have Brittany on with us. She's unable to join us this week for a preview. Hopefully she'll be able to join us later this month when we look at WWE TLC. Where did Mark go? Mark, why are you disappearing?
Don't go chasing waterfalls, Jim.
Okay, but 5 matches. It is this Sunday night on the award-winning WWE Network. We'll start at the bottom. We'll work our way up. We'll start with Timothy Thatcher taking on Tommaso Ciampa.
Tomato chips.
I have
Tomato chips.
picking up the victory. Mark, we'll go to you.
I'm going to go with the tomato chips, just
Tomato chips.
so I can hear the soundbite again.
Ryan, how about you?
Soundbite me.
Tomato chips.
Oh no, I wanted the other one. I wanted Timothy Thatcher.
I don't have a Timothy Thatcher sound.
Then I
Just
will
do
change
my sound
pick.
effect.
Do my sound effect again.
What, this one?
There it is.
Yep, that's Timothy Thatcher.
There we go. And Tim, how about you?
I'm going to hate that I say this. Timothy Thatcher.
Devin has Ciampa.
Tomato chips.
Then we go to the moon.
Charlie has Karrion Kross. That was his picking. I just got it.
Yeah, you got it.
It just came
I see what he did there. I don't have a sounder for that one. Then we go to Dexter Lumis taking on Cameron Grimes in a strap match. I love what they did last night where Grimes is beating the dude, then he turns around and Lumis is right there. I love me some Lumis, but I love me some Cameron Grimes more. So I'm going to the moon.
To the moon.
Intern Mark.
I'm going to go with Grimes to the moon. Alice. To the moon.
Honeymooners.
Bang
Nice.
zoom.
Ryan.
I will go with former Impact star Samuel Shaw.
Nice. Well played. And Tim.
In the non-preferred match of the night, Tim takes the strap.
Oh, come on. I know you want Trevor Lee.
To the moon.
To the moon.
Charlie has Lumis.
Dexter Lumis is the least offensive of the two. Therefore, Dexter Lumis.
There you go.
Barely.
Devin has Lumis as well. Charlie says Grimes greater than symbol Hangman.
To the loom.
Ooh, wow. That's I love me some Grimes, but I love me some Drunk Cowboy as well. Then we go to the triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship. Leon Ruff defending against Johnny Gargano and Tim's favorite Damian Priest. And just to make Tim super angry, I'm going to have the North American Championship going to Damian Priest. Intern Mark.
I think the titles will go back to Priest. Damian Priest. I'm sorry that upset you, Tim.
Ryan.
I think Priest does all of the heavy lifting, and Leon Ruff sneaks in, steals a victory, and hits the dirt.
I like that. I like that. Tim, how about you, Tim?
Tim's going to explode.
I am going to explode.
So salty.
Because the story they're telling here is that Damian Priest is luring Leon Ruff in only to then take the North American title from him. Unfortunately, the winner will be the Archer of the Infirmary, the most awful wrestler in all of wrestling today, and that includes a time period in which Wardlow wrestles.
Oh, you're disgusting.
I haven't even seen everyone on Impact Wrestling, and I'm sure he's worse than all of them.
Oh, my goodness.
He's worse than Swoggle.
Ooh,
Damian Priest.
I don't even how are we even on the air after this?
They should have kept his name as Punishment Martinez, because then I would be reminded what I was being while watching it. Punished.
Oh, you're unbelievable.
Wow. Tim going all in again.
Guy sucks. What is cool about a 6'8" dude doing high kicks?
I mean,
not big boots, like karate kicks.
I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
He's built at 6'5". It's the 3-inch difference that your problem is.
Yeah, it's usually what his problem is. Hey,
he's 6'5".
Oh, come on now.
If he's 6'5", I'm a cruiserweight. You know, he might be a shoot 6'5".
You know what? There's pictures of me and him, and I'm 6 foot, and I'm pretty sure he has more than 5 inches on me.
Yeah,
I'll have to pull the picture up, but I'm sure he's got more than 5 inches on me.
Yeah.
Charlie has Johnny Wrestling. Devin has Leon Ruff.
Charlie has who? Karrion Kross again?
Can you tell me why he's awesome, Charlie? Please,
Charlie, you tell him. I'm going to move on to the next match. You tell him.
You go ahead.
If there is any solace, he's on the wrong side of 30.
Isn't everyone now, though?
He is 38.
I know.
Well, let me remind you that AJ Styles is now 43 years old. Thanks,
He's
Connie.
On the super wrong side of 30.
Thanks, Connie. All right, let's go. Let's go to the first of the War Games matches.
What?
It is sorry, let me.
In War Games! Of War Games! War Games! War Games!
It would be cool if you made a supercut of Regal saying War Games, but then splicing in a Stone Cold Steve Austin what? What?
I pulled this clip about 3 minutes before we went on the air.
You got time.
I'll work on it for the next.
What?
Well, wait, maybe I can.
In War Games!
What?
Of War Games!
What?
War Games!
What?
War Games!
What?
That works. It works.
There we go. That's right.
Good.
I forgot with this one I can play two sounders at the same time. Okay, so we have the Undisputed Era: Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Bobby Fish taking on Team for the Brand. I don't know what they're called. I'm gonna
the Kangs,
McAfee,
the winners,
Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oni Lorcan. And yeah, they're going to win this match. And I assume that McAfee's going to get the final fall, because why not?
Yo, punt every one of these vanilla midgets out of War Games, Pat.
So I got team McAfee. Intern Mark, how about you?
Well, I still don't know what McAfee did other than wrestle for NXT.
He's a punter.
He kicked the fucking ball in football.
In the footballs, he's a punter.
Literally anything anybody else could do.
Brian, I want to go out to a football field and watch you punt a football.
I could do it. It ain't gonna be good. It takes no skill to kick a fucking football.
Boy.
Oh my.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ryan's upset now too.
Oh boy. But Mark, your pick.
I'm gonna go with I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Undisputed Era anyway. I'm going to say they're going to win, but I'm pretty sure they won't.
Very good. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Mark's sentiments entirely. I don't think it will happen, but I hope to see the Undisputed Era win here.
Suckers. Tim, give me the right answer.
Did you know that Bobby Fish is 44 years old?
Well,
I believe
AJ
that.
Styles is 44 years old. Well, thanks, Connie. No, I did not know he was that old.
God, I hope Pat McAfee collapses his lung.
Jesus.
Just kicks him
my.
and delays his flight and for everything.
You're an awful human.
I think we know what Tim's pick is, but confirm, Tim.
I mean, look. There's only one person in this match that was drafted in the 7th round of the 2009 NFL draft. There's only one person here who was named the punter of the decade.
Kobe.
Only person who has made a Pro Bowl.
Kobe.
Jim acting like the punter of the decade is something to really write home about. Get out
I'll
of
say
here.
this.
Unbelievable, Jim.
There's at least 32 punters in
the
the
reason why you don't know Pat McAfee is
No,
because
I don't know Pat McAfee. This comment's directed toward Mark.
No, this comment is directed towards you.
Absolutely not.
The reason why you don't know Pat McAfee is because he didn't suck.
You know Pat
you
McAfee.
remember the punters that suck because
don't,
you
because
immediately
they're
go,
punters.
get
You
that
don't
guy
remember them.
off my team.
But you don't remember them because they're fucking punters. You don't remember them.
Oh man, if you don't know how crucial to a success of a football team a great punter is, Matt McBriar for the Dallas Cowboys was a great punter.
Of course, you know your punters, Jim. It's not hard to know your team's
called
punters.
flipping a
That's
field.
all
man.
I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's not that big of a
He's
deal.
about to flip
You
this
know
field.
your team's punters, and that's it.
I'm just saying.
I'm curious as to how many punters in the NFL today I know. I'm very curious.
Oof. We'll have to revisit that.
Because
on
I'll
a
have
different day,
that's a good Patreon for Huddle Up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Long story short, Pat McAfee wins.
Kobe.
He rules. You suck.
I will be
Cheers.
impressed again at him. I absolutely will. I've accepted it.
Well, at least
The
you
guy's
he's great. Give him the stick. He's great. Charlie and Devin both have.
Give him the stick. Give him the strap.
Ryan, who's the Eagles punter? Do you know?
Savraka. I don't fucking know.
That was like 6 years ago.
He was a
then-
Redskins punter more recently.
A Washington football team. No, actually, he was the Redskins punter. You're
He
right.
was he was
When
at
he
that
played
time.
there, it was the Redskins. Okay, then we go to our final.
War games.
What?
Of war games.
What?
War games.
What?
War games.
What?
And that is our final match of the show. We have Team Shotzi, which is Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai taking on Team Candice, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Tony Storm. I think we're all winners based on this match. But since I have to pick a winner, I'm going to go with Team Shotzi, even though I love me some Raquel Gonzalez. But I just think Team Shotzi is the stronger team here in this one. So I'm going to go Team Shotzi for the win. And I think this match main events the show. Actually, no, I lie. It's going to be Undisputed Era. Intern Mark.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this match probably the most. And I'm going to go with Team Shotzi. I think overall, I think it's just going to be a fantastic match. I can't wait. And I'm a big Shotzi fan.
Should be great. The EO jumping on Raquel's back last night was fantastic.
The punter is
that Cameron Johnston? Is that his name?
Cameron Johnson.
Thank you, Lee, for that one. But right there. Ryan.
Punter. Whose punter is that?
That's
That
the
would be your
Eagles.
punter.
Here's
That
the
would be
deal.
your...
The Eagles have punted so much this year.
Right.
So
You would
much.
think you would know his name because
I
you've heard
wouldn't
his name.
because he is the fucking punter. That's
Oh.
how little I care about punters.
Well, and actually, he
And
must
that's
not
how
be very
little
good. Because...
Everybody should care about. The fucking Eagles aren't very good.
Well, I know that. I know
The
that.
whole team's not very good.
I do know that as well. I feel your pain on that one, Ryan.
Breaks
Team
my heart.
Shotzi, Team Shotzi or Team Candace?
I think you can make an argument that this should be the main event. I think it says a big statement that your women's division is main event quality.
I think it should. I don't think it will be.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to go because I have the undisputed era winning. I will go
Team Candace.
God, yes, I don't trust Tony Storm, but I will go Team Candace.
All right. And Tim.
I'm going Team Shotzi because I went team for the brand.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was there as well. Yes, Devin, the whole division, the Cowboys and Eagles in.
Because then you get
okay, Devin. Fuck you. Don't act like the Dolphins are that much better.
You then get
I draw the line right there.
You get a cool triple threat after War Games with Shotzi, Ember, and Rhea for a shot at Io Shirai's title.
Ooh.
Shotzi wins, and then she bungles it again. So that's great.
Yeah.
She's got green hair, so there's that.
Here's a question relating to...
I've had pink hair since the start of the pandemic. You don't see me getting no titles.
Do we think NXT has an answer to Dynamite on TakeOver? Is there some... No, I don't think so. I think NXT is going to just continue to be NXT.
It's the demon. I don't know.
No. You know, Triple H didn't go out today and tweet what the ratings were. You know.
He did do something else though.
Oh, what did he do?
So I was looking it up while we were chit-chatting, but they just had a media call in support of War Games, and yes, someone asked how open they were with working with other companies.
Oh,
Triple H says, and I quote, that they're open for business, and pointed out their previous deals working with independent companies. He noted that there are misinterpretations about what they're willing to do that aren't accurate, and they're open to the right opportunity, but it has to work for WWE in the long term. If it's good for business, then they'll look into it. Meaning,
there it is.
Meaning,
murder, death, kill.
Give.
Oh, that's fair.
Give.
Right.
Give.
Devin says, Ryan, we can talk after the regular season is over and see whose team makes the playoffs. Big talk for a Dolphins fan. Look, I understand they're sitting in that big time 7 slot right now, but Devin,
you guys, you know the Dolphins are the only team with an undefeated season, right?
Devin, just be like,
did we just get
the Eagles?
Was that Ryan or was that MLW referee Larry Peace?
Wow. The Dolphins are on as shaky ground in terms of a playoff spot as the Eagles are. That's all I'm saying. It's a slippery slope. Be careful. That's all I'm going to say. Just be careful. All right. We have 2 items in our news.
So why is Finn Balor not wrestling here?
I think his jaw's still fucked up, dude.
Oh, for real? So we're not going to strip him of the title like we've had to do other wrestlers.
You can't, NXT was in a
really
shitty spot.
They've set the precedent that it needs to happen.
They've never had it to where the champion wins the title, gets hurt, has to vacate it, and then the dude who wins the title gets hurt.
So should have to vacate it. I just feel like
then you're just gonna
why
be doing that
that's
forever.
ridiculous. Then fucking play safer.
Ryan, stop trying to apply logic to an illogical situation.
You ask Charlie what he thinks about that. Charlie will say the same thing.
Well, Charlie's just mad because his boy is the one that ended up going on his shoulder.
Well, you try to body slam that brick house off the top rope.
No, that's true.
Not easy.
And yes, I agree, Charlie. Pittsburgh has to be the worst 11-0 team ever. You want to hear more about these sort of things Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Impact Wrestling on
Facebook.com/Huddle Up Podcast, Twitter @Huddle Up Podcast, and on YouTube, Huddle Up Podcast. Cross has been out a long time. Time's irrelevant. It's a fucking pandemic. 2 items in the news and rumor roundup. The WWE Royal Rumble event is scheduled for January 24th, and they do not yet have a solid answer about bringing live fans in as of yet. They hope to have an answer soon. According to the Twitter account @WrestleVotes, the company wants to have an announcement made by January 7th about bringing in fans to Tropicana Field. The Thunderdome, we know, of course, moving there next week, and will house Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views moving forward. So obviously a big month. That's just a little over a month from now. My guess, given the current state of the pandemic, as much as I hate it, we are not going to have fans at Royal Rumble this year, live and in attendance. I really do think that sucks. Would he just tweet that today?
Yep. This was on the press conference, and this is from WWE on Fox.
Okay, so he's
Triple H to Ryan Satin on Karrion Kross's return to quote him.
So he's going to be at TakeOver.
I'm sure he's going to.
So he's going to be.
Someone's going to fall and pray, and someone's going to get sleeper choked, and I'm going to go eat some popcorn. I don't know who I hate more, Damian Priest or Karrion Kross.
You're ridiculous.
I think you hate Damian Priest more.
I don't know.
Because Damian Priest does not have Scarlet Bordeaux.
But I believe that Damian Priest could pull Scarlet if he wanted to.
Ooh.
Tune in for 3 Count Thursday After Dark. Real quick, Tim, do you think there will be live fans in attendance at the Royal Rumble?
Without question. It's in Florida, right?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
They're in the Tropicana Field, right?
Come on down to Florida.
Personally, I don't think, at least in the standard presentation of the Thunderdome, it is going to look much different at Tropicana than it is now, because you can create that what they have at Amway within obviously they can move things around for the Rumble.
Yeah.
But I dude, I don't see it. But you're right. It's in Florida.
It's in Florida. They're going to do something.
They'll
Ryan. Call Daly's place.
Ryan, fans or no fans?
Yeah, man. I was about to say no fans until Tim reminded me that's in Florida.
It's in Florida.
Where their state motto is, come on, y'all, get COVID.
It.
I mean, like I saw a retweet from Bleacher Report of these 2 guys just screaming as loud as can be, no masks.
I thought that their state motto is, we got COVID, so what?
Orange juice.
So Ryan, fans, yes or no?
Home of the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think they will figure something out. That said, real quick, so you asked Mark. Go ahead.
Mark, fans, no fans, Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's just because it's in Florida. They're going to have some type of fans there.
All right.
Maybe they'll be masked. Maybe they won't be, but they'll have fans.
There will be masks.
Now, Ryan, sidebar.
Now, Tim, you brought up Daly's place. Yesterday, they said 3, maybe 4 times about fans being in attendance, but don't worry, they're social distance. And then they show groups of fans cheering, most of which time they don't have masks on. And it wasn't just during the Sting thing. If there's, it's bad to say these guys are socially distanced and then show a group of 4 to 5 fans, all of which I don't believe would be from the same family. Just saying, so it's a bad look.
They may not be from they may not be from the same family, but they may have came together And I believe the way that Daly's Place was assigning people is if you were in a group of people.
They're sold in pods.
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay, I got it. My
there's
bad.
like
You can
six
buy like
seats
4
together.
or 6 or 8 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah.
But
That's
they're not
fair.
enforcing
the
that.
the groups are socially distanced from one another.
That makes sense.
They're
But
still not
everyone in the
enforcing masks,
group-
which is such a bad look.
I agree. There's
And
no
I mean,
harm in
I
saying
called
wear your
WWE
mask.
out on the first night at the CWC when right there on hard cam, there's one of their little pods, and these fans were without masks.
Yep, you're right.
Devin says if we don't get fans for Rumble, we need fans for Mania. If we go another year with no fans at Mania, the virus will never. Well, here's the thing: like whether or not we get fans at Rumble or at Mania, I mean, there is good things. There is vaccines coming. It's when it's all a matter of how quickly it can be rolled out and to who it gets rolled out to. Obviously, healthcare workers, elderly, things like that, getting it first.
Me.
It's when the because you're fat.
I am an influencer.
But it's
I
when
have
the general
hundreds of followers on
when the
social
general
media, Brian.
population can get vaccinated. That's the key. Which I don't think will be by Rumble time for sure. Don't think it's going to be by Mania season. Like Dr. Fauci, who's smarter than any of the 4 of us on this panel,
I don't know what you're talking about.
said that he thinks by the summer there could be stadiums, like sports stadiums with full crowds. So SummerSlam out of Big Fours is probably the most likely in play. I don't think it's Rumble.
What's the biggest venue that they could run
In the
Dallas.
US?
Yeah, for SummerSlam.
Either Dallas or
Michigan.
Michigan.
Like put
Big house.
SummerSlam in the biggest destination
Let me
that
look
you
this
could
up.
go.
Actually, did they add something on the Beaver that made it bigger?
No, Michigan Stadium's still the biggest.
Ford Field.
Okay.
No, like where the University of Michigan plays.
Oh, yeah.
Their record attendance, which was I think for it was in September, was 115,000.
But
at
see,
the
you
Big
got to
House.
make it a destination because if it is at summertime and everything starts to reopen,
Oh yeah, and Ann Arbor ain't that place. Neither is State College.
like you got to put it.
Come to Michigan. We have things.
We've got lakes.
Like Ann Arbor, and then over here we also have lakes.
And here's the Detroit Pistons and
Ann
the
Arbor,
Tigers.
Ann Arbor's like drive between like Lidditz and like Lancaster. Like it's a college town. It's a college town. AT&T Stadium, it can expand for football to 105,000.
What about SoFi?
Well, I don't think they might not.
You don't think they're going to be done by summer?
Dude, California is going to be on lockdown to like 2025. But let's just play that game. It says expandable up to 100,240. WrestleMania did 101,763.
See, they could easily expand that.
At Mark, do you know
Cowboy Stadium?
Mark, do you know how big E-Town College Stadium?
Boy, you can get them. You can really pack them in over there. Probably several thousand.
3, maybe 4.
The dozens and dozens of.
You can bring in the dozens of the Elizabethtonians.
If it is summer, make that the biggest attraction you could.
Make SummerSlam WrestleMania.
Make it like, hey,
WrestleMania on steroids.
I want you guys to make an estimate of all of the money that Cody Rhodes has spent on his pyro since the debut of Dynamite, and then triple it.
Yeah.
For just Roman Reigns, and then spend Cody's budget on everything else.
There you go. Devin says, I don't give a rat's ass. I need Harrisburg Senators. But I need live hockey, brother. I need fucking concerts to be back on. Okay.
For more than one reason. Daddy's got to eat.
Yeah. For more than one reason. But I think by like summertime,
yeah,
I think
so.
we're in a much better position. The other item here in the news and rumors, I talked about this venue a little bit earlier. Charlie, the Penn State Stadium is a little bit smaller than Michigan. Also, it is not an attraction place to go. It's a giant field.
There's not much up at State College.
It's a fucking it's a nightmare to get to as well. There's no way they're doing it there.
I think their town motto is "There's a mountain and we have a Dairy Queen."
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Reason they changed from "Don't ask."
It's being reported that Rogers Communications Inc., which purchased the Toronto Sky Dome in 2004, is looking to have the venue demolished and, quote, construct a new stadium as part of downtown Toronto redevelopment. It's believed that developers will publicly announce future plans sometime in 2021. The Sky Dome, now known as the Rogers Center, of course, hosted multiple WWE events over the years, including WrestleMania 6 in 1990, which featured Hogan versus Warrior. They returned to the Sky Dome in 2002 for WrestleMania 18, which featured Hogan versus Rock. They also hosted a Raw in 1999, which drew 41,432 fans and holds the record for the most people to attend an episode of Monday Night Raw. So it's something to watch. I mean, don't get me wrong. That stadium is a shithole at this point. It's a cool building. It's a super cool look. It's right there near the Space Needle and all of that. It would suck to see another WrestleMania venue, classic one, be torn down. I mean, we saw it with the Silver Dome, brother. It was torn down after the Lions moved to Ford Field. But the bottom line is when you're talking about being in a city, there's not a lot of real estate for a big stadium to go around. So if you want to build a new one, you usually have to scrap an old one. But it's something that we'll keep watch if there's an official announcement. But definitely a piece of WrestleMania history would go away.
It happens.
Yeah, certainly does. Okay. Anybody got anything else? Otherwise, we're going to.
Yeah, real quick. We said the Thunderdome is moving. Do we know when the official date is, and is that going to impact Raws or SmackDown?
Next Friday night's SmackDown is the first in the new venue. The early word was that this coming Monday's Raw may have to take place in the CWC because of just how long it takes to set up the Thunderdome. I believe tomorrow night's SmackDown will be the final event in the Thunderdome.
Okay.
At least as of earlier reports, unless they figured out they can tear down and move and get reset up within basically like 2.5 days. But it's quite a big operation. So I would not be surprised to see Monday Night Raw this week from the Capitol Wrestling Center there at the Performance Center.
Just wondering. I'd love to see that.
Charlie says he thinks Valor may be running this weekend. Devin may be able to confirm. I'm not sure. They were supposed to run last weekend, but the Valor and CCW events were postponed because of the restrictions. So I don't know if that is the case. But let's go around the room here. Tim, we'll start with you. Got anything to plug?
The same old at Not the Tool Man across all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Twitch, if you care. Not streaming as much. I still plug it because eventually at some point I'll go back. But lately what's been taking up all of my creative juices is a little show called Final Wrestling Place. Wherever you get this podcast, you can get that one. We drop Mondays at midnight every Monday. We're in the midst of Jumping the Broom, Season 14. We are covering 8 wrestling weddings. And we've already covered all the weddings of Stephanie McMahon. We've covered an old-timey one with Butcher Vachon and Ophelia. One with Kane and Lita. This week we go into a little bit of nostalgia in a different sense. We're covering the wedding of Black Machismo, Jay Lethal, and SoCal Val. as well as the wedding of Colonel Robert Parker and the sensational Queen Sherry. Final Wrestling Place, soundcloud.com/Final Wrestling Place if you want to get the live feeds from it. At Final Place Pod on Twitter. If you want to give us a follow, that would be absolutely fantastic. We post all of our shows there as well. Thanks.
Ryan, got anything to plug?
No.
Okay. Intern Mark, how about you? Mark's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh no, he froze.
He
All right,
froze.
then I will go real.
Hodecker Celery. Oh, he's back.
Oh, I can hear you now. Is it my turn?
Yeah,
I was
got anything to plug?
I do have something to plug here. Do you realize after this Friday night that Hershey Park Christmas Candy Lane will be open every night except for Christmas until January 3rd?
That is awesome. I did not know that.
That is exciting. That is exciting. And Treeville opens this weekend.
Oh.
They're going to have something brand new in Candy Lane. I guess they're, from the sounds of it, they're going to have different types of Christmas trees decorated over by the boardwalk in Hershey Park. So that's exciting.
All right. Well, that's where you can find Intern Mark for the next 30 days, except for Christmas night. Ryan, did you actually have something, or
Yeah, I'll
go
go. I thought Mark would have been might have frozen or touched on it himself, but the Pro Wrestling Empire on the YouTube channel. Make sure we give them a like, give them a follow, subscribe to their feed. This week we have some special words from a new champion posted up there, so make sure to take a look at that. I know we share that every week on our Instagram page as well.
I'll plug this. Frank just posted ECWA Saturday night, Jersey Dugout. Keikoa, former guest of the show, his last match in the Northeast. He's actually moving to Florida.
Yeah.
So best wishes to him and his wife. I'm going to, even though they don't pay us a damn dime, if you like the beers, I'm telling you, find the Broken Skull IPA. It is so goddamn good. I know I'll give them a plug as well, even though they don't pay us. Beer and Beverage Shop in Lancaster on Fruitville Pike. They have them, as many other distributors here in Lancaster County do.
That's a sponsorship I could get behind.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Maybe I need to do a little legwork here and see if we can't get them as a sponsor on the show. But go to 3countthursday.com. You'll find all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Our Collar and Elbow brand deal. Get 10% off each and every order at store.collarandelbowbrand.com by using promo code 3count. Our merchandise at whatamaneuver.net. Our home network, of course, NGSC Sports. You'll hear from the sponsor, pardon me, drinking the beer, of the show, Arena Eats, coming up here in just a second. But until next week, guys, please stay safe. Please stay smart. Please, I'm not making this political. Wear a mask, social distance, be smart, be safe. Until next time, and go for the pin. Three Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?